Hey everybody, happy Sunday, I guess. Reality check for me tonight. I go back to school tomorrow morning, so I'm not sure how many of you out there, I know there's some that are already back, but today was a big reality check for me. It's almost like I'm in disbelief, but I'm excited and sad to leave my kids at the same time. I hope you had a great weekend. Today I'm going to be talking about week 2 of my guided reading with a purpose, and if anybody is doing it already currently, I'd love to hear how it's going. I won't be teaching it this coming week, but I will be starting it next week with my class. So this week I only have my students 3 days, so we won't start a full week until the following week. So this week the theme was friendships for me last year. And there's so many amazing books. I really struggled with what stories I wanted to use from last year and if there were new ones. And so I kind of kept the theme friendship, but I also added with character, I can't even think of the word right now, but character traits and like being positive. And so as I go through it, you'll see what I mean. But so I added 2 new books this year from what I had done last year. So basically at the beginning of the year when I do retelling, I try to focus on beginning, middle, and end with the children. When you do retelling, you can go on and on and on, and I tried to tell them that I really just need a little summary of the important details in the beginning, middle, and end. And when I do this, I also tell the children that the middle should be sometimes the most part of the story, because really at the beginning only 1 or 2 things happen, at the end the same, but most of the story happens in the middle. So you'll see some of my sequencing cards have 1 beginning, 1 end, and sometimes 2 middles, because obviously more happens in the middle of the story. So to create some engagement and excitement about this topic, I created a Guess That Story activity. And so I was going to start that off in the morning. I was going to read to them my beginning, middle, and end and see if they could guess what story I was talking about. And that I thought would introduce the topic of retelling to them, because that's what I'm showing them. And I made a few of those that you could do throughout the week. And then since the week 1 was characters and setting, I always like to kind of review that, especially if I'm doing fiction and fiction again. So I did include characters and setting again for this week. So I have a hard time not including everything. So this packet has taken me a very long time because I keep adding more and more. So hopefully if you use it, you'll find it worthwhile. So I'm going to get started here and kind of go through the cards with you and show you what I have prepared. And then so I'm going to turn the camera and stand up and kind of show you as we go through. And I also did some differentiation for you as well, depending on your class and what you feel is appropriate. So I'm going to stand up here and flip the camera real quick. And here you can see my nice stack of goodies to share tonight. So here is the Guess the Story. So I would put this right up on my pocket chart, and it would stay out for the week. And then you can see I color coded. This is just 1 story. It's the story of the 3 bears. I figured it was a story the kids would know. So I would just read them the cards, and then they would have to guess the story. And I would also display them in order, sequence of beginning, middle, and end. And the other one I did was The Very Hungry Caterpillar, because I know a lot of students know that one as well. So those are the 2 I wanted to share with you right now. So that's just an introductory activity. Also included is a card that I would display telling the students kind of what retelling is. It will be up all week long since that's our focus. And then I made beginning, middle, and end cards. And when I would display these, for example, I would put the beginning here, and then these yellow and green cards would kind of go underneath it. So one day, here you can see, and then under middle and so on. They would go all the way across. So that's kind of what those are for, but also for the stories that I'm going to be doing. So, and here's where I differentiated just a tad. Oh, here are my characters and setting from last week. I included those as well. They're a little different with different banners, but I did want to review those this week, so they're also included. So sometimes when you retell a story, you use sequence words. So I don't want to go too much into sequencing because I do spend an entire week on that as well, but sometimes retelling lends itself to sequencing. So I also included first, next, then after that, finally, and last, I believe. Oh, nope, just finally on these. So those are also included. And then I made big posters. So I want to talk about these big posters. They say first, next, the same words I just went over with you. And you'll see I have a couple of next copied and a couple of thens. So one of my very favorite activities to do with the children is when I read a story, we retell it. So I would have a first grader come up and I would say, who can tell me what happened first? And they would come up and they would say, for example, in the Very Hungry Caterpillar, they might say, a caterpillar hatched out of an egg. And they would hold the sign that said first, and they would say first, an egg hatched, or a caterpillar hatched out of the egg. And then the next person would come up and hold the next sign, and they would say the caterpillar was hungry and he began to eat a leaf. And then we would repeat it. So the first person would say first, the caterpillar hatched from the egg, next, he began to eat a leaf. And then we go on and on until the whole story is told. So I always copy a couple next and after that and then, because you just never know how long they're going to go with the story. But a really fun, out of your seat, moving activity. So also, these are beginning, middle, and end as well. So again, this is, if you're going into great detail, you might want to do this or just try it and see how it goes. So I also made a big retell anchor chart. This will be at the top of my big pocket chart here too. So it's kind of hard to see the whole thing. So on to our stories. So if you have never heard the story, Peanut Butter and Cupcake, I highly suggest you read it. Before I go into this, I do want to tell you that everything that I made, there are general templates for. So if you don't want to use the stories that I'm telling or sharing with you, you can do any story you want. So this story, Peanut Butter and Cupcake, I fell in love with immediately, so much that 2 summers ago I invited my first graders to my house because I had to do it with them. I would just love this story so much. It's hilarious, a lot of kind of adult humor that the kids don't even get, but the best part about it is the cupcake is like a very little part of the story. It's really about peanut butter and jelly. So my favorite thing to do with this story is talk about why did the author call it Peanut Butter and Cupcake? Because, you know, if he called it peanut butter and jelly, you would kind of know the ending of the story. So it's really cute. It's real pictures of real things. Great story about friendship, and it leads to a lot of discussion about, you know, Peanut Butter kept asking friends to play, and they said they were too busy, and they didn't say it in a very nice way. So it kind of lends itself to that discussion as well. And then in the end, he finds Jelly, and they play together, and then all the other friends join in. So a great story for retelling. So to go along with that activity, I just copied like one thing, different thing from everything so you could kind of see, but all the stories come with discussion cards. So I would keep these out, and after the story, I have things falling on the floor. After the story, I would go through some of the discussion cards with them. And here's just one sample of a way that you could retell the story, first, next, and last. And they would just draw a picture in here, maybe label their words. Again, there's multiple things for each story, but I just wanted to share one. Here are my peanut butter and jelly friends, and I always like to have them kind of holding hands together. And I keep dropping stuff. And here is a little sign. If you make peanut butter and jelly, we go together like peanut butter and jelly, and these are the little guys that are falling down. So the sort for this activity would be to talk about things that do go together. And there's pictures of this, but a coffee and donut, a monkey and bananas, a hamburger and fries. It's not all food either. I know it looks like it right now, but there are non-food items in here too. A beach ball, and there's a swimsuit. A farmer, and I don't remember what goes with a farmer, but I think it's a horse. So anyways, a great sorting activity to do with the whole class, things that go together. And then again, I made the charts to talk about the characters and the setting. So you can see this happens in the daytime outside. Peanut Butter's mom's in the story, and Peanut Butter. Soup is in the story. These are all upside down. Anyways, all the characters and setting, you get the picture. And then that big, huge retelling things at the top, and I retold the story in a beginning, middle, and end. So after reading the story, I would read these parts and have the kids help me put these back in order, beginning, middle, and end, as kind of a modeling activity. And then there's obviously writing activities to go with that one as well. So that's Peanut Butter and Cupcake, one of the friendship stories I wanted to share with you. A lot of this stuff is repeated through all the stories, so I might not have printed everything for you, but the next story I want to share with you was actually recommended in this group. So a shout out to my friend who recommended this. I am in love with this story. It's called Do Unto Otters, and it's a book about manners. And otters are moving in next to Rabbit, and he's not sure he's going to like them, but an owl comes along and says, well, there's a wise old tale that says, do unto others as you want others to do unto you. So Rabbit starts telling the way he would like to be treated. So it's perfect for the beginning of the school year too. It talks about manners, but it's a great story to retell as well, and friendship and making new friends. So I also have discussion cards that go along with this story. And for this one, we talk about the vocabulary. Some of the words are forgive, kind, tease, fair, and all these words are discussed. So we would do kind of a vocabulary matching with this story. It says, do unto others manners. And then again, I have the characters cards and setting. And then here is my little sign. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And one of the writing sheets I wanted to show you. So for this activity for writing, I would model to my class how I would want to be treated by a friend. So what are some things that friends should do, and how should they treat you? You could really just make this a sentence or two, or this would be a great list. So we might just do number 1, number 2, number 3. And again, when I actually do this with my class, I will post these on there so you can see. And then I would probably hang these up with my sign, and I made a cute little otter, which I have to say I'm totally in love with. In the book, there's no heart on the otter, but I just felt like he needed a heart because of the saying, and it's just doing unto others and being kind. And so anyways, like I said, I'm kind of in love with my little otter. Hope you think he's cute too. Okay, so then the next story, and this goes with this story, was another one that came through in the recommendations, and I bought it, Spaghetti and a Hot Dog Bun. And again, this might be like one of my favorite books ever too. It is so, it talks about bullying a little bit, but then in the end, they end up being friends. So, and it talks about standing up for yourself. And even though this little boy, Ralph, was being mean, she kept being nice. And she took the high road and was, you know, a good person. And I really think it would bring up great discussion with the class about that. So anyways, that's why I kind of chose this book as well. So Spaghetti and a Hot Dog Bun, amazing story. Here's another, these are for all the stories, but I just wanted to show you. So you could do beginning and middle and end and write, or probably most of my kids, we might be doing the picture here if we do this activity where they tell what happened in the beginning, middle, and end, a picture and a label. But again, I will let my kids choose because choice always equals engagement. And I have kids, and I know you might too, that don't like to draw. And they are great writers, and they would much rather write than draw pictures. So if that's what they choose, that would be fine with me. So again, discussion cards for this story, characters and setting to review with the class. And then here's my spaghetti and a hot dog bun that's upside down. So you could do a couple things with this. You could just make spaghetti and a hot dog bun. Here's the little sign I have, celebrate your differences, like spaghetti and a hot dog bun. But I think I'm going to have my class write something unique that they like. I like peanut butter and bananas, or something different that they think maybe other people might not like, and put their name on it. So as an extension of a writing activity. And also here are the sequencing cards that after reading the story, I would read these to them and we would put them in order. And for this one, you can see there's 4 cards. So there's 1 beginning, 1 end, and 2 middle. And in my packet, I include pictures so you can kind of see these charts put together. All right, next story is Nugget and Fang, Friends Forever. My teammate suggested this last year, and I always read this story when I did Sharks and Ocean, but I thought, you know what, we're going to move it over to friendship because it is about being friends, and it's about kind of judging a book by its cover. And little Minnow here goes to school and finds out that he's not supposed to be friends with sharks because they're sharks. And so he comes back and tells his best friend he can't be friends anymore. And then in the end, the shark saves the day, and then he has 10 new minnow friends. So it's really cute. Great story about friendship. So again, I have some question cards for after reading. And then another way to retell, I made, and my teammates suggested this, and so they're cards with pictures, and they would just sequence them and retell the story that way. So just another way to retell the story. And then here's my Fang. And I'll be honest with you, my Nugget's so little, I think I lost him. Bummer. Well, he's really cute. He's a little pink fish. I'll find him, I'm sure, somewhere. But I think for this, I'm going to put him on top of their writing. So for this story, I would probably have them just tell a couple sentences, important details that happened in the story. So we would talk about when you retell, you're not going to tell the little things, you're going to tell the big things. So for this writing, I would definitely work on the retelling portion and the writing piece. And it says, never judge a friend by their appearance. So they're opposites, a minnow and a shark. So we're going to do a little opposite sorting that day. We spend a whole week on antonyms and synonyms, but it doesn't ever hurt to kind of introduce things ahead of time, and you know, you're going to revisit it later anyways, but since they're opposite, I thought it would be kind of fun to sort them. So those cards go with this story. You guys are really making me prepared too. I'm like planned out for the next 3 weeks and laminated and everything. Super exciting. And again, character and setting cards, and then the sequencing of the story. And this one too has, let's see, 4 cards. So it has a beginning, 2 middles, and an end. So we do that all together. Okay, last story, Chester's Way. If you know, if you can tell by now, I'm a huge Kevin Henkes fan, and this story is my favorite of all of his stories. And I used to do author studies, and I always read this story first because Lily is introduced in this story. But if you followed me already, you know I'm already going to be introducing Lily the previous week. So it'll be kind of fun for her to show up in this story. So Chester's Way is about some friends that do everything the same, and then Lily moves into the neighborhood, and she's different and amazing, and they learn that it's okay to be friends with somebody that's different, and they change things up, and they do things together, and they end up becoming great friends. So I do have an author study packet on Kevin Hinkey's, and all the worksheets I made are brand new. They are not in that packet, except I did pull 2 over because one was about retelling and one was a writing activity. And then I said this in my whole thing earlier, but so sometimes I already have things other places. I just want you to know the crafts are from my packet. I wasn't going to reinvent the wheel for this because I already loved what I had done before, so I was going to do it again. So anyways, I just wanted to let you know that. So I have discussion cards for Chester's Way, and this sorting activity, they are sorting between Chester, Wilson, and Lily. Just Chester and Wilson and just Lily, because in the beginning of the story it's just these 2. Then there's things that Lily likes, but then in the end they all become friends and like things together, and they're the 3 blind mice, which, by the way, my triplets, when they were 3, were the 3 blind mice too. So another reason why I love this story. So Chester's Way, again, we have the vocabulary and setting cards and the retell cards for that story. And at the very end of the story, another awesome part of the story is that he leaves you hanging. At the end, a little guy named Victor moves into the neighborhood. So one of my favorite things to do is talk to the kids about, now what do you think is going to happen? Because Victor's moving in the neighborhood and he looks kind of scary in the back of the book, actually. So I love to do this writing where Victor shows up and the kids write a few sentences about what they think is going to happen next. So it's kind of, you know, a great activity that lends itself to them. So here's Victor writing, and then I also have Chester, Wilson, and Lily. So if you do the sort, this would be a great kind of follow-up. You could talk about, what do Chester and Wilson like? What does Lily like? And of course, I wrote lots of things. The kids would maybe write 1 or 2 things. And then, and if you had your sort up on the pocket chart, they could refer back to it as well. And then what are some things that they all like together? So this one has 2 crafts. So you'd have to make a decision. And plus, like, who really can do crafts every day anyway? So I just like to offer things for you to choose from. And, you know, a lot of times we do a craft on the day when we don't have a special. I don't know about all of you, but our first day of school, I have no specials. It's Wednesday, so Wednesday is always going to be my longer day. But okay, so at the end of the week, I am going to do a culminating activity, and so I wanted to share that with you. I'm really excited about this. I'm going to let the kids get in groups and pick a story that they want to retell. I think I'm going to encourage them to pick one of the 5 that we read for the week, or maybe a book from the previous week too, so I will have those out. They're going to get in groups and they're going to discuss what part of the story they want to tell, and they're going to draw a picture, and they can add words if they want. So I printed so you could see. I have beginning, middle, and end posters. But if it's a group of 5 or 6, you know, you can kind of judge your kids, and they want to do a longer retell. I did make this also for first, next, then, after that, and finally, and they could do another then and next. So I'm really excited to see how they turn out. And then I was going to have them share them with the class and maybe record them and see if I could send that video to my parents somehow. I thought it would be really cute. So kind of see if they can do it on their own, or, you know, with a group. So that's my culminating project that I would do in class. And then I wanted to share this too. I made this little retell mini book. There's other extra things in there too, but and this one also comes with no lines, so you could print it with no lines. And it's just beginning, middle, and end. So I would copy it and then just 2 staples per set and slice it down the middle. And I thought that since once we've learned what a retell is, this would be a perfect thing to put out in the Writing Center. So I added that to this packet because just my kids love to make little books, and they could do this on any story that they want. So I also wanted to share that with you. So that's my week in a nutshell for 2 weeks from now. So hang tight here. I'm going to sit down and turn around. My mouth's a little dry. I did lots of talking there. So what I wanted to say was this is going to be my first week of school. So normally I'm going to go live on Sundays and Wednesdays, but Wednesday is going to be my first day of school and big adjustment for my family. So I think I'm going to hold off on going live on Wednesday. I have so many things I want to share with you. I'm really excited, but I feel like I need to breathe for a second. So if something changes, I'll post in the group. If something comes up, I really want to talk to you about guided reading. I want to talk to you about literacy centers. There's lots of things. And then I just can't wait to share things from my classroom. And I cannot wait to see your stuff from your classroom. So if you do something related to this, not related to this, please take a picture and snap it in our group. That's how we're going to collaborate and learn from one another. So this packet is not even up yet. I took pictures today, but I haven't done it. So my goal is tonight or tomorrow morning it will be posted, and I will put the link in the group. And since I'm not going live on Wednesday, I think what I'm going to do is tomorrow night, because I have open house tomorrow. So tomorrow night, I will give 2 of these packets away. In the comments, just leave me some sort of comment in the comment section, and I'll pull from there and put your names in a raffle. And questions or comments or whatever, I'll draw tomorrow night and let you know. And then I will also, once I post it for 3 days or so, I'll have it discounted. So anyways, even if you don't want this packet, I hope that you got some good ideas from just about retelling and those cards that I was shared at the very beginning about first, next, then, and after that. You literally could take construction paper out and write those on the cards, and my kids love to do that. So do that. Get your kids up moving, get them in front of the room, and they'll be just super engaged, and it'll be really fun. And also, one other thing I thought about, and I'm going to see, we'll see, but I thought about making spaghetti and a hot dog bun. So I'd love to hear your opinion on that, but thought about making a crock pot of spaghetti. It's pretty cheap. You can buy noodles for 99 cents. Getting some buns. I wouldn't give the kids the whole thing, but just to try it and see what they think. Thought that would be a fun thing to do when I read that story. So anyways, if you're going back to school, good luck this week. If you're already back at school, you're probably exhausted and just relaxing. So hopefully I will see you next Sunday night, and if not sooner, have a great week. Bye.